All right, so today we're talking about the Greenlight Debit Card for kids. Is it a scam? Is it not? Is it good? Is it not? Do I recommend it? Do I not recommend it? And every single time I do one of these videos, I do several tests, right? One of the tests involves actually calling customer service, talking to them, asking them key questions, and actually seeing if they actually work, or if they don't work, if they even answer, or if they don't answer, right? Because we want to make sure that you have customer service on the line, especially when you are dealing with money. The second test I do is that I actually go over all the key features and provide alternative reasons to why it works or why it doesn't work. And lastly, in the last test, I actually tell you if I recommend it or if I don't recommend it and what's a better alternative to all of this, okay? But before I even get to all that stuff, guys, I want to share a quick story with you guys, right? Because times are changing like crazy. I remember when I was a kid, right? Like my my debit card was basically just getting like $5 from my mom, going to school, and I used to sell DVDs at school when I was like 10 years old, yo. So I used to get $5 every single day from my mom, buy whatever I want to buy, and then make money selling those DVDs, and then just keep that money. And I don't remember what I used to do with it. And then I remember when I got my first job, right? I got my first job, I was around 12 years old, and when I got my first job, I got paid for the first time, my first paycheck, and I literally left the job, and I was like, I quit, I don't want to work anymore. I made enough money until I'm 18. I swear to God, it was like maybe like 60 bucks, okay? I went to the game store, bought a whole bunch of games, and then I thought it was good, and then next summer came, and then I asked them to like employ me again, and they said, no, we can't employ you, you're gonna quit after your first paycheck. And all right, so it didn't really work out, right? But now, in today's day and age, we do have all these alternatives, all these apps for kids who actually have a some kind of idea and their finances, so they don't quit on their first job and they can actually have some type of future in this type of stuff, okay? So I really want to go over all these tests, and the first test we're actually going to run is the customer service test, okay? So I'm going to have to go in and call customer service and actually ask them a whole bunch of questions, and I'm pretty sure that some of the questions I'm going to ask customer service are probably questions that you're having yourself, and you won't have to call in, you won't have to wonder about it, because I'm going to ask most of the questions. Now, in certain cases, customer service isn't that great. So if I call in and they don't answer, I do have the list of questions that I wanted to ask, and I can answer them myself for you guys. But I want to get the information straight from the horse's mouth, okay? So let's hope that they actually answer and the customer service is great, because if it's not great, then I can't really recommend the app, because it's one of the most important features for me and for most people that are dealing with money, okay? So let's do it. And like most apps, the customer service number is always hidden. So you have to look a little bit more further and click around a little bit more so you can actually find the customer service number. So if you don't want to do all that, here's the customer service number right here. So you can call them yourself, okay? If you don't believe what I'm saying. So let's call them.
Thank you for calling Greenlight. My name is Janella. How can I help you?
Hey Janella, my name is Tommy. I'm just calling in to get some general information. I'm trying to apply for one of the like debit cards for my kids, and I'm just trying to find like the right one. I called around a few places, but like I don't think like they're any good fit for me and my kids. So I'm just calling in to ask you some questions if that's cool.
Sure. So what will be the questions, please?
Awesome, Janella. I'm just calling in to see like how many tasks can I add for like my kids? Like for example, like if I want to give them like chores and stuff like that, like how many tasks can I give them, or can I add to the app?
Okay, thank you. Please bear with me for a moment.
Okay. She should know that. She should know that answer like really quick, really on it. If she's been working here for a while, then it's not really a difficult question. And I always start with like basic questions so they can actually, get into the groove, and then ask you like the deeper and deeper and deeper questions.
You can add actually, sir, 2 chores. That's per children.
Oh, 2 chores per children?
Yes.
So is it like, for example, if I want to have like one kid, like for example, like Billy, and I want him to like clean his bed, clean the room, clean the dishes, like I can't. Is it just like those 3 and that's it?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. All right. And how does it work? Like the entire like sending money like from my bank account to their debit card. Is it like instant, or do I have to like transfer it to my wallet first, and then from then I can transfer it instantly to them?
So what will happen is if you transfer your funds from the debit card, it will always go first to your parents' wallet.
Okay. And how long does that take?
If the funds will be coming. Oh, if it's from the debit card, sir, it will come instantly.
Really?
If it comes from your checking account, it will take 3 to 4 business days.
Oh, wow. And is there like a fee associated with either using a debit or a checking account?
There will only be a monthly fee for account maintenance. That will be for $4.99.
Wow, that is awesome. I did not know that. And by the way, is your customer service like 24/7?
We're only up, sir, from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. Mountain Standard Time.
Okay, that's fine. And another question, Janella, for example, like what type of access do I have to like my kids like account? Like for example, like I imagine that I would have my own account, and then from that account I can view like everything that they're doing. Is that how it works?
Yes, that is correct. So you have the access to transfer the funds from your app, then also add a child and add a secondary parent.
Wow, awesome. And for example, how many? Because I asked you like how many chores they can set. You said only two. And and I also noticed that you guys have like this feature that is like they can like set up like saving goals. Like for example, if one of my kids like wants to save it to buy like a video game or something like that, they can actually like set up goals like that. So how many goals can they set up for like those saving goals?
Can I please put you on hold for a
Yeah,
minute or
Janela,
two
no
while we
problem.
look at my resources?
Yeah, thank you so much, Janela.
Thank you. Stay in the line, please.
Okay. Okay, so far she's answering very good, very polite. By the way, guys, it took me 34 seconds to get on the line with these people, so they're very prompt. Although they're not like 24/7, when they are working, they are working. This is not a sponsor, by the way. Like, they're just doing very good, and I'm very impressed because most of these apps don't do that well.
Thanks for patiently holding on the line. Sorry for that hold.
No problem.
So upon checking here, you can set up as many as you can, sir, as long as it doesn't exceed the card or maximum card balance, which is 5,000.
Oh, awesome. Okay. I get it. So they can set up unlimited goals as long as it doesn't pass like over $5,000, which is the limit that the card can actually like have, right?
Yes, that is correct, sir.
Okay, awesome. And since we're talking about the savings account, like how does that APR work on it? Because I did read a little bit about it, and I just want like a little bit more information, because what it sounded to me was basically like they can set up like they can put it into like a general savings, and then it earns APR, but then that APR is actually something that I set and I actually pay for.
Again, sir, we gotta check for that. Give me a moment, please.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so basically what I'm talking about here is that the savings account's APR, you set it yourself as a parent, and then you pay to them. So for example, you could set up an APR of like 10% a month, and then if they save up $100, then they get $10, but that's unrealistic and it's not real. So I just really want to get some information on that and see if they have their own APR that they actually pay out their own pocket. Because, you know, they can just use the money for whatever they want to and make investments and make money off that money. Or are they actually giving you a percentage of the profits?
So regarding to this or to the savings, we don't have any actual or any further information for this one. Or if you want, sir, for further assistance, we can go ahead and connect you over to our higher support team.
No, I think that's fine. I'll stick with you, Janela. You're doing great. Cause I think I read a little bit about it like on the like the frequently asked questions. So I just wanted to confirm some things. Okay. By the way, can my kid, for example, right? Because you know they can use like PayPal and stuff like that, and like connect it to like other funding sources. Like for example, can my kid like pay certain bills, or like can he have like an external savings accounts and use like that? Does it have an account number basically and a routing number like the debit card?
Yes, sir, they have.
Okay, awesome. So for example, if one of my kids, for example, like they wanted to set up a savings account and they just wanted to like earn like interest on it, could they potentially like have a separate savings accounts and then just send the money from the Greenlight over to that savings account?
What do you mean by that? Or is there a third party?
No, not a third party. Like for
company?
not okay. For example, you know, like you as an adult, right? You probably have a debit card just like I do. And for example, if I want to like have a savings account outside of my bank, I can just send money using my debit card to that savings account. So my question is, can I have external accounts, or can I fund external accounts using those debit cards? Can my kids do that? Because I have like savings accounts already set up for them.
Sending funds from the Greenlight Debit Card to the other account, sir, is not allowed by our system.
Oh, it's not allowed by your system. Okay, that's fine. No worries. And okay, and what information do you need for like the sign up process? Like, because I know you guys require like all my information and my social and stuff like that, but do you need like the kids' social security and stuff?
Sir, that would not be necessary. We only need their first and last name, also their phone number and email address.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I was wondering about that because some apps actually ask for their like social securities, which I found kind of weird. And
I see, sir.
yeah, and what would you say are like the key features about the entire app, like Annabelle?
So since Greenlight, sir, is a prepaid debit card built for teen spending, paired with this mobile application for teens and their parents. So within this app, sir, you have a control of their spending rules. Like, for example, if you wanted them to use the card at a specific store only, so you can do that one.
Really?
Also, you can control also the amount that they're going to purchase on that specific stores or for withdrawals as well.
Oh, really? So then, since it is a prepaid card, they could withdraw money from it, right?
Yes, sir.
But I can also so for example, can I go in the app and because I want to make sure like I'm keeping track of like all of their transactions and stuff like that. But if they're just like withdrawing the money, then I don't really know what they're doing. So can I go in the app and then say, for example, well, you can't withdraw any money from it?
Yes, sir. You can, like, for on the application, usually there is an any ATM category. So if the child will or wish to use the card at the ATM, so you need to put funds on there. So if you don't want the child to use the card at the ATM, you can also withdraw funds out of that category.
Oh, wow. Awesome. And one last question. And the price of the entire service is like $4.99, and I have like, for example, if I have 3 kids, is that like good for the entire family, or is it like $5 per kid?
That's for entire family, sir.
Wow. That's so awesome. All right. Thank you. What was your name?
My name is Janella.
Janella, thank you so much. Like, you were such a good help. Like, thank you so much. Like, I really appreciate it. I'm going to take this information, share it with my wife, and then see what we can actually do.
You're welcome, sir. Is there anything else I may assist you with?
No, you did great, Janella. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Thank you for calling Greenlight.
All right, you too. Bye-bye. Now, as you guys can tell, right? As you guys can tell, that was a very, very good conversation. And obviously, they're not open up 24/7, but they are open up on weekdays and stuff like that. But here's the main thing I do want to make you guys understand, okay? They actually answered the phone within 34 seconds. And a lot of these services, like, you have like this entire like loop and stuff like that. If you're not a customer, you can't really get over to like a customer representative. Well, in this case, like, it's literally like one button. You click 0, you don't know the number, you speak to someone ASAP. 34 seconds is insane. Like, that's even better than some banks that I know out there. Now, I do want to discuss some of the key features because she did answer a lot of the questions, right? But I do want to discuss some of the key features of myself and actually make sure you guys understand exactly what I was asking and why I was asking these questions, okay? So, by the way, guys, everything that I asked her, these are all questions that I knew the answer to. So I knew when she was kind of like BSing me in a little way, and I knew what she was trying to say, and I knew what she wasn't trying to say, okay? So the first question that I asked her, right, what are the key features? Well, not the first question, but one of the main questions was what's the key features, right? Well, one of the key features is store level control, right? What this means is that you can set up stores for the kid to actually spend money at, and they can only spend money at that certain place, right? And every time I tell you one of the key features, I'm also going to tell you like the bad that comes with it and why you shouldn't really do that. Now, what I recommend for this is, for example, right, I don't recommend you set up any limits at all, like to where they can actually spend the money. And you're probably asking me, Tommy, why would I do that? And the only thing I do recommend you guys do is this, right? Don't allow them to actually take the money using an ATM, right? Because then you have really no control, and they won't even know themselves what they actually spend the money on. Like, if they need cash, they'll tell you like, hey, dad, mommy, poppy, whatever it is, like, I need some cash, can I take it out? And then you ask them yes, and then you can actually allow it through the app, and they'll tell you why they need the cash, you know? But the only way you can actually do this, rather than keep track of everything they're doing, then I recommend you guys actually go on a weekly basis, sit down with the kid, and actually tell them like, hey, you save money on this, you spend money on this, we can actually do this for your saving goals, we can actually save money here, we can actually invest money here. And for all the parents out there, they're probably wondering, Tommy, we just heard from the horse's mouth basically that you can't transfer money from the account to an external account, right? Because this is a prepaid debit card and they have rules and regulations to all of this, right? Well, here's the thing. What I recommend you guys do is this, right? You set up it's complete. By the way, if your kid is like 13 and above, they can set this up themselves under their own name. But if they're below that age, then you can set it up on their behalf, and then you can just like send the money yourself, right? So for example, if you want them to save a certain percentage of their money, you pay them the money, and then once a week you sit down with them, or every day you sit down with them and you say like, hey, you just got paid $50 this week, right? Let's take that $50 and let's put this amount, 20% into your savings accounts, 20% into your investment account, and then this into that, and then this into that, right? The rest goes into your debit card, right? And then you can use that for whatever you want for your saving goals, to buy your PS4, to buy your PlayStation, whatever you want to buy, you can buy, but we need to take care of this. Well, I can't set up those accounts, you might say, right? Well, you can set it up themselves. You can set it up yourself as a parent, and then have that kid see it grow and have access to those accounts so you can see the process taking place, right? Because that is a very good feature. Now, when it comes to safety and real-time notifications, I do want to mention this, right? The app is pretty safe, as you can tell. Like, you can call them in like very fast. So I'm like, hey, something fraudulent happened. They'll probably help you out like crazy. I can tell by the customer service that they do a very good job at this. Now, there is this feature, like if you're locking in where they can actually spend the money, imagine like a robber like robs your kid, right? Give me your debit card or whatever, you know what I'm saying? They take the debit card and then they go everywhere trying to spend the money, but they can't because it's locked into one place, right? And that's basically it. Like, they can't really use the money. And then when it comes to real-time notifications, basically every time that kid spends money, you get a notification telling you like, hey, they just spent money on this, you spend money on that. I don't recommend you do that, okay? Because if you become like a micromanager when it comes to your kids' finances, you're not really giving them the chance to actually grow. So that's why I say, well, once a week, just sit down with them and set up their financial goals when you give them that allowance and you actually transfer the money to them, okay? You sit down with them, you go over all the spendings that they actually did, and you go like, hey, maybe you shouldn't spend money on this. This is a need, this is a want, this is a difference, this is your goal, this is not what your goal should be. And you sit down like that, but you give them the freedom to make the mistakes during the entire week. And then you have that sit down. And I wish I had that entire sit down because I probably wouldn't have quit my job when I got my first paycheck, okay? Because it was not a good idea financially, all right? But I got a whole bunch of video games, so who cares? Now, the second thing is allowances and no transfer fees. Now, this is one of my favorite features by far because a lot of companies out there, they don't do this, okay? So now, the allowance feature, you can send the money automatically, right? I don't recommend you do that because you can't send the money automatically and then sit with your child every week and actually discuss everything that's actually going on with their finances, right? And you don't want to set up on autopilot because you don't want your child's life to be on autopilot. You want to be involved in it, right? Now, for the no transfer fees, I do find this very interesting that they don't charge you any money on this, right? You pay $4.99 for the entire family, but a lot of cards out there, they usually take between 1 to 3 days to actually get the money there. But if you use a debit card with these people, the money gets there instantly, which is very good. And that's very great. So imagine this, right? Your kid has an emergency. They need your help. They're lost. They don't know what's going on. They need your help, basically, right? It's an emergency. Imagine you having to send them money and it takes 3 days to get there. That was the main problem with the current app review that I actually did, that I didn't like it because of that reason. Right? But with this entire thing, if you have the money, if you have a debit card, you can send that debit card, the money from the debit card instantly to your account, right? Instantly, and then send it over to your kids instantly. It'll take like around 10 seconds max, right? Which I really appreciate because it really helps solve big problems, you know what I mean? And then they have a feature that's the freeze and unfreeze, right? Now, I don't know how I feel about this feature. Like, basically, okay, if the card gets stolen, then you want to freeze the account, obviously, because you don't want somebody else using the money, right? I get that. But some parents out there might actually use this entire feature like, oh, you're grounded. You don't have any access. You're grounded. You don't have any, you know. But I really don't want to do that, you know, because it's kind of like, all right, you're going to give the kid money. Just give the kid the money, and then you sit down and you're involved with them, right? You shouldn't really just like have like certain borders in place. Like, well, you should have certain borders in place, right? If you're going to punish a kid, punish them for this, but don't just take away their money, because you're building up this entire mentality. And I don't know, I can't really pinpoint that problem exactly, but what I think will happen is if you're punishing and you're taking away the kids' financial freedom and actually being able to be more independent with their money, in the long term, it's going to cost you more money than it would have just cost you if you were just involved in that, like, kids' like financial, like, personal life, basically. Okay, now, so you're probably asking me, Tommy, it sounds like you really like the app, right? So are you gonna recommend it? The answer is yes. Okay, and this is like, I think, the first time I actually recommend an app rather than ACORN, and then I think like one more savings accounts in this channel. Okay, so it's very rare, but here's my thing, right? Because everything always comes with a little caveat. Now, my main thing is this, right? Obviously, you're not gonna have your kid on an allowance for the rest of their lives because you're not, you know, you're a parent, not like welfare, basically, right? But here's my thing. My thing is this, right? Once your kid hits around 13 or 14 and you've been doing this for a while, it's around that point when your kid needs to get like a little part-time job so they can start building their own money, right? So this app is very basic. All right. And the entire thing with the savings account, so you can actually set up your entire APR, that's not really realistic. So here's what I'm talking about, right? It's very good, like, to have like this debit card for what it is, right? You can set up chores. That's great. But eventually, like, you won't set that up anymore because your kid is an adult. You're not going to pay him to do stuff like that. Okay. So for example, if they need a debit card, they can use that card, right? If they need saving goals for certain things, they can use that. But when it comes to a savings accounts, they can't use this app anymore, right? Because it's your APR, it's coming out your pocket, and you're basically paying interest on the money that you're actually giving that kid, right? So they need an actual savings account. So I recommend they get either PVAA, savings accounts that earns you like 2.40%, or Markets by Goldman Sachs that gives you 2.25% APR a year, which is very high, right? So they get either one of those accounts, and you start actually funding those accounts, right? And they can actually do them themselves, and then they actually get an investment account. Now, they can't get an investment account until they turn 18, right? But what you can do is set it up in their names and then have a debit card, right? and have them use that debit card and use that money that they put in the debit card to actually just send the money themselves, right? But it's not really in their name, but it will be in their name, but they can fund it themselves, right? So you can see the money grow step by step. That's why you have to be involved on a weekly basis and actually helping them do this every single day. Now, something that's very interesting that I almost guarantee that most people don't know is this, right? Once your kid gets his first part-time job, they can actually qualify for a special type of RIA. Yeah, I said retirement account, right? You're probably asking me, Tommy, what the heck are you talking about? You need to have a regular job to do that. In reality, you don't. There is a special type of RIA out there specifically for kids with jobs that if they're like, you know, like 13, 14, have a regular job. Well, not a regular job, like a little part-time job, you know, because you're not going to take your kid out of school so it can like start working like ASAP. Obviously, you don't want to do that. But if they have a little regular job, they can actually set up an RIA and you can actually set that up for themselves, okay? So there's a lot of things out there, but for now, this app is very good. But the more advanced that kid gets, like what I'm saying is basically it's a good stepping stone for your kid, right? But it's not the only stepping stone, okay? At one point, this is one thing right here, right? But out of this finance bubble, there's like 10 more strings that need to come out, you know, 10 more things you need to teach. And this app doesn't do all of them. So you need to set up the savings accounts for them, investment account for them, retirement account for them, and actually show them how everything works and patience, right? If you did this, right, from the time your kid was like, say, for example, 0 years old, right? So the time they were a kid, blah, 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 right? And you give this kid like $50 every single week. Well, by the time that kid reaches 18, if you've been doing this well and you've been doing it very good, they'll have over $100,000 saved up. Right? That's over, what is it, like 100 times or 10,000 times more than the average person has in America, because the average American only has around $1,000 in their savings accounts. That's 69%. 34% of Americans don't even have a savings accounts, okay? So I want to make sure you understand that what you're doing or what you're trying to do with this entire finance thing is actually going to benefit your kid long term, and they're going to see what compound interest actually does for them in the long term. Because going from 0 all the way to 18, actually doing all this financial work and investing and saving money, by the time they turn 18, they will be guaranteed an expert at dealing with money and probably 10 times better than you are, okay? So that's a great thing to have, all right? I'll see you guys next time on the next video. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, go ahead and subscribe and like and comment. That's how I know you like these videos. Make sure you comment down below if you have any other apps you want me to do. By the way, this video was recommended like a day ago. I did it today, so I'm very fast with it, okay? So any video you recommend, I'll probably do it ASAP. Make sure you subscribe, okay? Because that's how I know the channel is growing, and like the video. I'll see you guys next time on the next video, and peace.
You've got to start at the